Okay. Um, Morning to those who celebrate at this time of day. Um, Today is a development day, and I'm not looking forward to it because I am not well versed with Jetpack Compose. So we're gonna do our best. um, but yeah, so let's talk about what we want to do. Kind of do like a again, we're gonna treat this like work. So we'll talk about what we did yesterday, what we're gonna do today, and if there's anything that's gonna block us. So what we did yesterday, and we'll get the VOD up for that soon, is talked about. We kind of went on a rant about Agile, talked a lot about product, and then talked a lot about planning and why the time spent planning will save you a lot of time in the future. Um, Today, I want to struggle through compose here, so I probably won't talk as much as I normally would because this is more about implementation. I'll try and explain what I'm doing, but again, I'm not familiar with how Jetpack Compose works because when it was in vogue, it was still not great. And a majority of the projects that I work on are legacy. So they still are using XML to build layouts and do things like that, which I am 100% aware of how that works. But things in this, like navigating between views and like handling flows, will be different for me. So I need to kind of figure that out. Like, just it's fascinating how, like, this is, to be fair, this is a KMM project setup, so it does have a couple of different things, but like this setup as it is for our main activity doesn't really scream like how you would put something like this together normally. So, meaning that, because, and this could be a history lesson for someday, the main activity in this is very much like the main functions of other languages. So, like in stuff like React, where you're exporting, I believe it's export default. That's where it's saying that like the starting point is. In Android, activities are very much like that, and in the olden times, like everything was an activity, and we would just send intents back and forth until we learned no, that's not a good way to do it because that's basically having multiple entry points into your application, and can be potentially dangerous and fun. So it turned into like this whole fragment navigation thing, and that was cool because then we started um, thinking in terms of flows, which then like made bottom nav really nice to interact with. It reduced the number of activities we had. It made changes to like how we handled deep links into the app, so we didn't need separate activities to handle those. Like, a lot of fascinating stuff. And now we're here with Jetpack Compose. I don't know how this works. So, um, what we're going to do is we're just going to take a look together. I will try and keep a browser window in the view so that you can see what it is that I'm like looking up and looking for, and make sure that that I'm trying that this is easy enough to follow along and ask questions if you have any. So, um, what I wrote down as a schedule for what we want to do is see what we can commit to today. Good CI practice means that I should have a commit when I am done with my work for the day that would be reviewable. I don't have this connected to a uh, repository yet, so that could be something that We also do if there's time. Otherwise, I'll do it in off time so that we can have commits whenever we do work. But what we should be thinking about is how much can I get done today that is committable and won't break anything. Now, because there's nothing at all, we really don't need to worry about that. But it would be good to look at what we have, because we did go over our tickets yesterday. So what do we have on the board here? And the first item is the landing page, which, great. So that is something that we could probably commit to doing during the stream, and learn some more compose along the way. So let's, I'm surprised it doesn't have an easy assign to myself. Cool. All right, so now we're in progress. And then so that we remember what we're working on, I want to show the screen with 2 buttons. When I press the buttons, they go to blank pages. So this will help us learn how to put things on the screen. If there's time, we might just mess around to see how we set them up. I would hope it's very similar to constraints, but we'll see. And then maybe we can do a little bit of navigation as well. So let's do that. And let me just make sure that if I do this and then do that, that'll come up. Cool. Yeah, that should be good enough. And then I can use this to keep an eye on what we're doing. So, all right, let's get started. So right now we just have the default stuff. Yeah. It's been a little while since I've done this last, so it's funny getting back into this. For context, I am searching for work, so that's been most of my lifetime here. I wonder if I can just hide these. Thank you. And you do remember some things, like architecturally, but you also lose some things. So let's just do excellent. I would always suggest to look at the documentation from the provider first before going and searching for more, because it's important to know that before. It's important to have the context of what they expect before trying to trying to understand what someone else may be doing. So interesting. So these are just following material design. All right. Oh, elevated's cute. And then that's a link button. Fascinating. Okay, so yeah, if I just want a regular ass button here, I just want this guy. Cool, fill button. And so that people are aware, these yellow lines here, I'm using a code inspector called Detect. Detect does not like the fact that these have capital letters because functions shouldn't, but that might be something that we can go in and make a change to in Detect. I don't know if we can make sure that it catches both, but it should be something that we can adjust. But I do enjoy using Detect to ensure what I'm doing is is readable and is following good coding guidelines. So yeah, so that just gives us a button. So this is excuse me. If we look back at what we're doing, I think I'm going to duplicate this and put it over where I can read it so I don't have to keep switching to it. I'm glad my microphone has a mute button so I don't sneeze in everybody's ears. Okay, so yep, so one button's gonna say, oop, nope, 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 that's not what I wanted. I'm surprised inspection doesn't yell at me for this. Fascinating. Okay. The reason why, and I didn't know, interesting, I didn't know this is here either. So, for internationalization or I18N, you should keep your strings in a strings file. I would assume that's not different. Well, let's take a look. Oh, I have to fetch strings now, I guess. Well, that's... I'm surprised these don't just decorate on top of it. Okay. Is there a form of text that takes a resource ID? What's an annotated string? I also like my rainbow brackets, but I guess it doesn't work for big files. Huh, I wonder what this is. Text with multiple styles. Okay, so this is good for interesting. So oh man, yeah, I come from Spanibles. This would be nice if this made it a little bit easier to handle string spans. I'd be fascinated how that works out. I worked for a company that did articles, and one, I had to write a HTML parser for it, which was fun, and two, I had to work with Spanables in order to properly format the article, because some people like myself like to write by putting italics and bold words in to show inflection or importance. So you needed to do that, and the only way to do it is to build spans and build these text spans. So interesting. So I guess this is for Spanables then. Interesting. So how do I provide a string resource for text? Ew. I don't like that. This used to just work. Oh. I'm gonna have to turn my camera on someday so you can just see me staring at this in disbelief. This used to work with just the. All right, I guess. I wonder. Okay, I don't have enough where I really truly do not care if why it does it this way. Um, okay, well let's do that. So where are I'm betting it's in one of these. Okay. Okay. I think we're just going to do it here for now. I swear I've forgotten more things than I've learned. Okay, yeah, it's just like that. Oh, XML. Um, I like to be specific on them. Something that I have learned from working with translators is giving context is the best thing you can do, because of just differences in like what you thought was a universal term but turns out to be more colloquial, like the word hard. So you as an English speaker, hard could mean difficulty, it could mean pliability, um, it could mean stubbornness. Like there's a lot of things that it can mean. So in other languages, there aren't direct translations of that. So if you want to say like for a difficulty rating and say something is hard, you want to try and either change it so that it's more descriptive or at least let the translator know that in this case hard means difficulty. Um, if you have a good set of translators, then you just make sure you partner with them and are answering their questions because they will save you a ton of time and misconceptions from your users. So sometimes too, I like to put in where it's going because that helps me find it. But I'm wondering, we may not need the specificity here. We're just gonna go with that. And viewing, and because we're going to need both, let's just get the my down arrow is very close to my angle bracket. And XML elements like this are done in snake case. I always keep IDs in snake case so that I know it's an ID. I do know that there are others that do them in camel case, which I believe that helps with there's what's it called? There's a view binding. It helps with the bindings because then the binding has a camel case name, which I wonder if that's even going to be an issue with Compose. But I have always been a fan of snake case to quickly view that it's an ID. And in the same sense, if I was to use view binding, which again we'll find, I don't think we need that with Compose. I would also want it to be snake case because then that would tell me that I was acting on a view, not on not on an element, which can be important, or not like a local variable, which I feel is important. So, all right, that's the piece here for what the options will be. So that's good. Let's go back. So we've got this. We're going to switch you to string resource. I really don't like this. Type string dot I am feeling. I wonder. I wonder what the naming convention is for this, because So for me, because naming such a argued thing, I like to know what it is I'm looking for first, and then what its name is, rather than trying to remember what its name is and then go looking for it. It's why I used to like the old way of declaring variables, but so like it would be button but it works just as well as the I am feeling button. It makes, this is something that's important to talk with your teams about, to make sure there's a coding convention for it that everybody's performing, so it doesn't become a question in your code reviews. But it's difficult to build like a code style guide. It's easy to implement others, but naming is something that I don't believe you can do automatically. So it's good to set that as an expectation with your teams, and then with anybody who joins. That just happened. Because then I could take let's call that landing view. I know I could just do a find replace, but I'm also I take the downtime sometimes to think while I'm like going through this stuff. So we'll get rid of that. We'll get rid of this, and then we'll do button I am feeling. This is probably for its on click, so we'll learn what the navigation does for that in a moment, and then that just happened. If we rebuild the module, we should see some buttons now. Public final, too many arguments. Yep, this is why copy pasting is always a danger. There we go. So I'm guessing because there are no constraints on this is why we're only seeing the one button. Something to remember, things draw in order from top to bottom. So that's why you don't see the I am feeling button. So for example, if I was to, move these around. Knowing this is a neat trick, because there's a lot of like fun things you can do. And you can see like one button's bigger than the other. But it's a good thing to know draw order, because that's what helps with dealing with overdraw. It's also good for when you are trying to like put images behind something. You can instead of like trying to make it as a background, you can do it as a view stacked on a view, which is a little bit more easier to understand. But this is pretty universal. But remembering draw order can save you a lot of stress in your future. Okay. Okay, so how do we set constraints? I'm guessing. Oh, okay. Ooh. That's going to be no fun if I have to build each time to see it. Hmm. But. Oh, okay. Interesting. I'm happy this exists, though. Ugh. This this used to be something you'd have to calculate on your own because for reasons unknown to me, when you set values in uh, different pieces of layouts, they don't set them as dependent pixels. And this is the quick thing for it. A dependent pixel is calculated by your device, like window, so like the display on your device. So a pixel is a pixel is a pixel. Like there's no, that's always a static unit of measurement. A dependent pixel takes into account the device you are on because it takes your screen density and like all those things into account, which is what you want so that it looks consistent across devices rather than having, you know, your smaller device have a 16 pixel insert, but then your larger device having this 16 pixel and it looks like it's nothing. And I've never understood why you would want to have your constraints, which 90% of the time are a dependent pixel calculation. So, like these margins, like they're always going to be this. But when you provide them, it goes, oh, well, that's in pixels, right? And you're like, no, that's in dependent pixels. Do that calculation. And it's like, no. So I've never understood that. Or why. So, and is another thing, and this might be something where they're trying to be too prescriptive in, that might be too prescriptive, is that Android wants you to do things in like eights for its like for margins and things. So like it's always been a 16 pixel margin, or for like from the edges of the screen. Um, so why not have those like a static calculation somewhere in the OS, like as part of the device, so that when you make a call to the system to ask for 16 pixels, like it just provides it. So it's just a lookup table. But again, like it might be them being too prescriptive. But to be honest, I don't believe I've been on a team where the calculation for insets or anything like that wasn't independent pixels and wasn't a power of like or wasn't a multiple of 8. So who knows? I don't. But okay, so it looks like we need this. Let's snag it. Where is okay for the Android app? And then I think this is special. So let's just confirm that that's special. Let's show up. It's very small. Okay. In addition to the compose setup. Okay. Yeah. That's why reading the docs is good. You don't have to sit and listen to somebody talk through their introduction before they do it. So we'll add an implementation. Okay, so yeah, we're in the Colin one, which is fine. Okay. Do we have a libs? Yes, we do. Okay. You can see my age coming through. Alright, newer version, 220, huh? It's probably fine. Ooh. I probably want a minor version. Okay, so let's fix the first problem I created. I should have known. It says KTS right there, so let's get you out. We're gonna need it, but not right now. So let's go, because I'm lazy. Let's copy that again. Let's go to our libs. We're gonna add in that might be fine. Okay. And fast. I wonder if it's got it as does it have a KTS link? Did I just miss it? Nope. Note the has a different versioning than Jetpack Compose. Of course it does. Why wouldn't it? Okay, so I'm gonna quote. Is it worth it to have the constraint layout be its own thing, or why are we complaining? Expected dot or no? Yeah, because you equal this. What's activity compose at? 192. All right, let's just update these because we're still new into the project, so it's okay. We will not cause any problems. Yeah, 1.3. We'd like to be on the minor version there. Don't mind being that. Collins hotfix version. Why not? We're still in a new project. None of this is going to cause any issues yet. It's interesting because it should have just worked here. Like, this isn't forced. Hang on, we're gonna just check implementation here real quick. Like, you should just be able to do this. And I'm just not paying attention. Yeah, I didn't. I thought that was the case. Okay. Use version catalog instead, since we're using TOML. Okay, yeah, and that's fine. I mean, sure. I wonder if it's good to use version ref here. We'll find out. Someone will tell me I'm wrong, and then I'll fix it. Or I'll read it and find out that I'm wrong, and I'll fix it. Okay, invalid definition. Not a valid mulch, of course. Okay, so I guess I do need one. Okay, I think, so this needs to be Droid X constraint layout compose, because it is different. So let's do that. One, okay. We're gonna pop that out. References. Spaces I'm not used to at all. Yes, I do see it, but we'll fix that. Next line. Oh, what, you don't like that? Oh, did I delete the M? I did. Oops, 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 oops. Oh, what? Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. It's not... I don't like going beyond the fold. Alright. Okay, so then we got that. Let's add our... Okay, so how's this naming convention work? Well, it probably doesn't see it because we haven't built, so let's... Yeah, let's rebuild so it can see it. And then we'll get an idea of how this is supposed to read. Because I have a feeling it's going to be libs, Android X, compose. Yep, and it's going to need a minute because it's pulling all the new stuff. Colin options unit is deprecated. Please migrate to compiler options DSL, of course. Okay. Yeah, if you want these to go faster, just make sure you do this once a day before you start working. Oh, what's the matter? Call in options. Where is that? Shared build Gradle. Call in options. What do you want to be? I like to get as many of these out of the way as I can. I'm not a fan of like having warnings that are just kind of there. Okay, so interesting. I mean, yeah. Okay. Let's see if this placates it for now. We can always understand it later. What frustrates me about this is the KMM plugin. So you'd think it'd already have this fixed. That built this project. So let's see if it actually, no, open it. Okay. Yeah, of course it targets 1.8. I think because this is a deprecation, we'll take a look at it later. I don't want to spend too much time reading documentation about why this one thing isn't happy. These are disabled. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm on a Windows machine. Those won't work. All right. Okay. So let's close those out because I don't need them. Okay. So that should give us our constraint layout. So if I was to do how did we do that? Okay. Do we not know what you are? Oh, I did all of that and then forgot to add that. Interesting. So did it just do that all on its loans? What did you put that into the Tamil for me? Oh, that's nice. How very kind of you. That seems like the wrong one. What? Is this old? In addition to the compose setup. Okay. Watch. Are we on 241? Okay, so we... no, we're on 101. Okay. All right. Okay, so it did it on its lonesome, but it did it incorrectly. So let's fix that. Jesus Christ. All right. Let's actually do this correctly. Oh, Android, you constantly find ways to make me laugh. Constraint layout compose. There we go. So that'll do that. Let's go here. Let's get rid of the import that it just brought in because it's the wrong one. Let's resync. Okay, let's get rid of that. It should now know who it is. Import constraint layout from compose. Perfect, perfect. Yeah, you should. I don't like star. Okay, why aren't you? Should just be all. What the fuck? All right. Sure, buddy. Just make my life difficult. I am glad that works automatically. Okay, yeah, default render problem, perfect. That's fine. Also, if you noticed before, if you want to rewind it back and see it, when I had this as its own separate layout, did you see they all stacked in the corner like that? Again, draws in order, shows the whole little box, so on and so on. I do need video because I just did a bunch of hand motions and you'll never see them. So cool. So then if we have these, then we should be able to constrain them. La, 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 la. So it looks like what you want to do is it's got it set for the on click in the declaration here. Don't set these in the don't set these here. Set them here. Let it be part of its layout. If you set them here, the problem that can occur is well, this is fascinating because you can do. So this is showing my lack of knowledge on how compose is put together. But Okay. Well, okay, so this is all right. Let me explain my thought process here. Number one, the on click being passed in um, like that. Okay. I have so many thoughts. Okay, so buttons are built like let's take a look at this. So these buttons are built to take in an on click as part of their construction. Fine, sure. One of the issues Android had was that um, you could set the on click in the XML, and the rough part with that was because it's like sitting on its own. It's difficult to like debug when you really should be keeping your concerns separate. So like functionality shouldn't be part of the view declaration, like how it's being put together. And so it seems like we're trying. How fascinating. If, in my opinion, declaring the on click here makes no sense. Because this is supposed to be my composed view. Wow, this feels very Java-y. Interesting. Like it feels like old on-click things for buttons with Java, where you would just kind of ship them somewhere. Because what's the point? What's the point of doing this and having this on-click in the constructor? I'm guessing so that it can be reusable. But that's the point of just having a button in general. So there is no reason to have. Man, I am just perplexed. How weird. I don't like it. I really don't like this at all because yeah, I want to declare my click to then do something. But why would I want it here? I mean, is it supposing that it's like a I'm gonna get really hung up on this. All right, we're gonna not do this. We're gonna make mistakes and figure it out as we go. I don't like this is a useful function here, to be honest. Like being able to pass in this on-click function from wherever, like that's really nice when you're doing things like dealing with lists and stuff, so that the something can action those clicks that isn't like a weird callback or something. But what I'm not understanding is why you would want to do that here. I wouldn't want this in my composed view. Um, and this might be old Android brain speaking. Um, that might be what this is. But I know that these are publicly viewable. Like if I was to create another, I'm gonna do another activity just because I don't like, I don't have a thing for it yet. But because those are, because of the way those are scoped, those are visible. I think they're package visible. So if I was to make this extended to, and just have it do the things that it does, that's okay. Like I can see, can I not see that? Yeah, I thought so. So like I can see that because of how that's scoped. Yeah, I know. This is just to prove a point, Android. It's okay. I'm really not a fan of this. I'm sorry. I'm so confused. I'm like really hung up on this. Because here's the theme. I would apply styling to the button itself. I suppose it would be so I could have a styled button and just have that be openly accessible. So then why aren't these in like a components file? Fascinating. Okay. Things I'm gonna learn as I go, I guess. Alright, well, let's get rid of you so you don't cause me problems later. Interesting. I would think this would be the default. Oh well. Okay, so that puts those buttons there. So then I should be able to set constraints on them. So if we take a look at how we do that, that's a modifier of the piece, but we also need to create references to constrain. Do you have to do that for everything? Why wouldn't it just make this decision in decoupled constraints? See, this is when we start getting into a, like, not a great place. Because if this is supposed to be our view, it shouldn't be making decisions. And this would just be as well to say decoupled constraints, and you would pass in the width. And let this decide. Interesting. It also makes it so this is testable as a function if you put it here. This is also something that would probably be reusable. I don't like that. Very confused. Just some interesting ideas that they're putting in for this. Alright, so... Okay, so according to this... I wonder if I still build a chain? Do I do... Button, constraint is button. Okay, so we can do parents and stuff. Alright, so... Where is it getting these from? And then this is where you end up when this isn't, like, good. Alright, let's see what old Pro Android Dev says about this. Okay, so that's what the modify as is, I'm guessing. So this tells it to constrain it to this ID. Sure. That feels fucking ridiculous. Alright. Now I'm cursing. Do I have this set so that I can curse? I think I do. We'll see if we need to set that later. I need to just stop cursing. All right, so or excuse me, it does it like this, where we put them in here. Okay, let's put these in order. I think I would like this up top because I don't know, that's how I just always visualized it. Then inside of here, we're going to put in these modifiers. So let's just snag this so I can have something to start from. Oh my god, please. So the modifier for this button, does it not have one? Did I do this wrong? What have I done? Do I need to declare the on-click first? Is this not a button that gets returned? Are you serious? Okay, so nothing. All right, so I'm at a loss here because this is bad. Okay, so wow, I really do not like this. Okay, so these aren't. I should have known that. We're only an hour in, but I should have known that nothing was returned. So that's problem number one, is that nothing is returned on these composable functions. So what's happening is that they are just being called and building themselves. So any modifiers that I need to add in need to be produced to these buttons. So why? Okay, yeah. Okay, these are extensions of the custom classes the view classes you can make. I get it. Okay, so we're gonna go simpler than this, and if this becomes something that we think we need later, we can do that, but right now still hate that I'm setting the on click here. I think that's the worst thing you could do. All right, hold on. Let me just, yeah. Wow, I'm very unhappy with that. I'm sure the fix for it would be yeah, I right now I don't know. What was what? That's weird. What are we missing? Okay. Okay. Fascinating. I mean, this doesn't feel great. It feels. Um, the fact that the on click is here, I guess, I'm not happy about this. And that it's not scoped in the activity either. Well, we'll learn more as we go forward. Maybe we can get some best practices in. But I am what? No. Show the action so I can import it. Yeah, thank you. Okay. So if we rebuild this, it shouldn't be that hard for you, computer. Come on. Oh dear, the fans have kicked on. Oh, they'll both be the same. In my exasperation, I forgot to actually, do this. That's interesting that you can do the link and the margin. How? Sure. Okay. At least it's still called parent. So we want this to be to I am feeling. So button I am feeling dot bottom. There we go. Hey, this is looking more like buttons we can press and see. Okay, so I am a fan of chains and making sure everything's constrained the way it's supposed to. So we're gonna do. I forget the circle for this, but we'll update this as we go. Link to button that just happened. Oops. Hey, margin equals. We'll just keep 16 as our like deal here. Button that just happened top. Is it start? It is start. Excellent. Link to start. Equals 16 pixels, and then link to parent and interesting. So it doesn't take up the space. Huh. And fascinating as well. Like, what do you do? I got a lot of questions about how this is being constructed because now button's missing a reference ID. Is that something I can give it? Interaction source? What is that? Alright. Modifier, enabled, shape. Yeah, like how do you set a button? How do you make a button disabled based off of external things? So it is an interaction source, so it's like an observable source. That's okay. But this doesn't fill. Okay, well, what modifiers do we have? Probably a lot. Okay, so I'm still not. I'm not a fan of this. This is hmm. Yeah, I really am like just not. Oh man, this is so strange. Okay, it'll have a problem here, so give it a moment. Um, what? It's not gonna make a little circular one? That's, why aren't you yelling at me? How dare you? How dare you just work? Well, there's the two buttons. Man, this is just... Alright. I gotta get past this, because otherwise we're not gonna get anything done. Alright, well, we got two buttons now. Let's see what we're supposed to do for navigation. If you're not familiar with Compose. Oh, they're all... Ew. Wait, why is this here and then turns into here? Come on. What is the point of this? Sure. All right, Android. No, I will not watch a video. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is good. Like, that's always been such a headache on Android. They work. I'm sure you've had deep linking work with your Android devices, but I've also watched it not work, like with TikTok. Oh my gosh. Okay. Um, okay, I'm gonna pull this over to my other screen so that we don't have to, well, it doesn't matter. Let's grab these boys and do something with them. Interesting that it separates like this. I wonder if this is needed. Probably, because it cares about these being plugins. I'm the type to like kind of keep the version with its with the things that depend on it. So it's not like all willy-nilly, kind of like how this can get. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure you're gonna complain. Hush. Nav version, and then we're gonna want that. We're gonna want okay, let's just grab these boys here. So, yeah, quotes. That. Pull out my handy dandy Control-C, Control-V only keyboard. The Stack Overflow Special. Navigation UI. All right. That's what we need. So let's sync that out. Okay. Let's see what else we got going on here. That's all that. Cool. So let's get them into the project here. This is mind-numbing. Oops. Seems like we're missing something here. so I've got plenty of screen real estate. I don't know why I'm not just taking a look. Okay. What? It's not copied it. Fragments, navigation, navigation, dynamic, features, fragment. Probably doesn't need all that, but whatever. Alright. And that's it. That should be all of them. Let's sync the changes. Okay. And this is just complaining because there's 2 unused things over there. Okay, so that's good. You're fine. Okay, so now we have that. That's step 1. Why doesn't it just go through this? I don't want to do the code lab. I just want to do it myself, please. All right, well, let's create a navigation controller. Remember who you are, Simba. You're a navigation controller meant to take users to places they wish to go. Silly. It needs to be high enough that all the composables that reference it can do so. Okay. Yeah, well, yes. Yes, it does follow the principles of state hoisting. I mean, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't. Jeez, 2018. What a time. All right. Well, let's see what the code lab says. Mm-hmm. 19 plus, jeez. Okay, so actually, why don't we just go to here? Cool. Yeah, I'll bet it has issues. On Android 13. Yeah, no, it's explicit about it being only working on 19. Sure. Why would you suggest a 5-year-old code lab? Okay, well, let's take a look. See what we got going on here. We have everything done in the old way. So this isn't how Compose does it, so this is not what we want. Uh-huh. Okay, so what is this just old nav graph? I mean, yeah. Okay. Okay. Replace all of your fragments with corresponding screen composables. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. Can I just have this? Like, uh-huh. Okay, so that's what they're trying to push, is that fascinating. Okay. That's weird. I wonder. Hmm. This pattern is what's fascinating me right now. Because. I guess because they're not. Okay, so here's where the VAR is declared. And then, okay, so then it gets pet. Okay. Interesting. So this. Okay. Hmm. Okay. It feels. Gosh, this feels very over-engineered. Um, hmm. Like, yeah, like retaining state and all of that's extremely important. It just is. Hmm. I wonder how much of it is decisions made because of how um, old Android is, for lack of a better term on it. But interesting. Okay. Well, hmm. See, I don't like how this reads. Says I should create it high in my composable hierarchy. It's like, okay, so on the view itself, like this high, like the top level composable, or should it be in this activity where I'm setting the content with my composable? Because that's as top level as you can get. Like they, it lacks so much context. Hmm. Well, let's see. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense here. Um, yeah, because it it used to be, like I said earlier, it used to be that you did navigation for all that stuff um, with activities, but it then became, we then realized the security concern that that caused. So that's, yeah, that's kind of cool to allow you to migrate easier by separating them out as activities. That's nice. I like that. Because um, on some of the other projects that I've worked on in my time, I can't imagine trying to commit to it's just turning everything into navigation. That would be a chore, and it would take a very long time, even if one person was dedicated to it. Because I can't imagine the planning and parallelization it would take to do that. I wonder if some of my previous teams have been able to. It would be a fascinating article to read. remember it. And then we tell it what destinations it has. But where does it live? Yeah, this is all like pretty standard just in compose, but like, okay. Okay. So somewhere is a top level composable for the entirety of the app. And inside of it is the nav controller, which says it's start destination. Okay. Okay, fascinating. So this seems like it should be in the activity, right? So you would do, okay. Let's do a couple of things here. Let's take a look at this again. I mean, at this point, do you even need the fragments? Because if we're just going from composable to composable, I mean, this I'm used to, but like, do you? It feels like you don't need it, right? Okay, well, let's go nuts. Let's keep the composable here. We'll just keep this all single activity for now, and I'll start separating them out as it makes sense, but this might actually be interesting. What's... Gosh, what do we even call these anymore? I'm just going to call it app main because then it won't confuse it with like main thread and other stuff. So if we do that, I'm going to pull this over here for now so that I can see it. And then I'll bring it back here in a moment. Okay. But, okay, so then you would end up with this app main piece here, and then I'm just going to copy this in, and we're going to make changes to it as we go, because this is fascinating. Okay, so we got the remember nav controller. We should have this already, because I did import that. Okay, nav host should also exist. I wish it would just import these on its own. I want navigation compose, please. Profile is actually nothing, so hold on. This just should take in the nav controller for now. Start destination is... hang on, let's get this in real quick. That's not Why is it on the... Oh my god. Composable. Okay, so then... Profile is something. What is profile? Profile is a data class. Okay. Let's see if we can get away with no wildcard for right now. Fascinating. So okay, so these need to be declared. So let's declare our landing view. So I think that's a form of serializable that I don't have. No, on the thing I'm trying to... Oh my god. That's not what I want. Let's just go with declarations here. So landing. Okay, so then we don't need that. So the composable is landing. We don't need a backstack entry because I don't think I do. Okay, so let's get rid of all this. The nav controller can start. Landing. Okay, so that gets that together, and then now I can tell it that the landing view is what this is, and then if I had a navigation for it, I could tell it to navigate somewhere and what route to navigate to, and that's declared through these composables. Okay, so now that I have this, if I switch this to... Oh my god, I didn't click that. App main, and then I refresh this, it should show me the same thing. Nifty. Okay. How do you keep all these routes together? Like, I mean, this is a very simple snippet, but Okay, so here's probably what would happen. So let's do my favorite thing, add a new package, Android dot, that's probably not a good name, but I don't care. We're going to add a new Kotlin class file. We're going to call this landing. This will be where the object for it is. We're going to get a conflict, but that's okay. So this goes away. This should just need to be imported, which is what I want. Oh, come on. Okay, so yeah, so we've got that. Now I just yank this guy out. And then come over here. Give it the R file. Okay, so then that'll have that here, and then we come over here, we tell it the landing view that I want it to compose is that one. Okay, and then this should be my app. Can it not? Or app main. Okay. Render issues. Some problems were found. Default preview. What's the matter? Serializer class for landing is not found. Mark it as serialized, and that the serializer compiler program plugin is applied. Okay, so what is the serializable plugin that you need? Is that in the TOML? No. Okay. Okay, so here's what we're looking at. Yeah, so here's the object that we did for ours because we don't have anything at the moment, but it's not telling us what this is. What is that? Okay. I don't know why it asks me that every time. Yeah, I don't care. That's the one I need. Okay, so Kotlin, Android, multi-platform. I'm just gonna keep you with all the Kotlin stuff. And I wonder if I would hope the version ref is the same, but it might not be. So I don't think that's what I want. What we're looking at right now. Trying to figure this out. Okay, so that's the one I need. So it is on, wait. So it is the same as Colin? Hang on. We're gonna assume it is until it's not. Make it all the same. Kotlin. Maybe because it is the plugin. That makes sense. And then we're going to need the actual thing for it, which is this guy. Yeah, JSON serialization is fine. We'll pull that ref out in a moment. So let's do Kotlin. I can spell. Okay, so that should work. Okay. Just grab you. Go back. Oh, I don't need you. Okay, sync that. Hopefully I don't need, I probably need to put that in up here. Otherwise it's not going to know how to work with it. Okay. And then if we come back, you can go away. I'm gonna need to turn that off. Okay, and then let's go back to landing. Serialize wall. Perfect. Okay, so then that puts that together. So if we come back here and have it rebuild. You can do it, computer. I have faith in you. Ta-da! Look at that. Okay. Okay, so that does that. Oh, and that was only 2 hours of whining. We're doing well. All right. Let's see if we can get another thing set up here. So I want the I am feeling. We'll get rid of that. We'll do that. Visible. And then composable fun. I am view. Okay. And then I think if I want to see this, I just do this over here and then ask it to do I am feeling view. And then just kind of build it out. But I think it's going to be nothing for now, so. Okay. And then new file. That just happened. I'm probably going to change this to composable or something, but Vue is just so intrinsic in Android and it's been in my head for so long, it just kind of sticks. So as I learn best practices, or I'm reminded by the community, if you are watching this, please feel free to correct me. I'll stick with Vue until I don't. But yeah, so we'll do the same thing here so that I know I made it. Okay, let's also do pre-posable fun. I wonder if this matters. If I can just name them all default preview. Yeah, and because they're in a different package, they don't see each other, so that's why it worked. There we go. So we should just name these after what they are. Okay. Okay, and then we come back here and we add another composable. Whoa, come on. I am feeling. Please go away. That's a lot. So this will be the I am feeling view. And then composable. That just happened. That just happened view. Okay. So that gives me those, but it doesn't do the thing. There's a thing we still needed to do, which is routing. So we need to route, which is this over here. Okay. So this is how it's passing. It wants to pass in these navigation moments. Okay, so what we'll do is we're going to add these as a function to insert. So it's just I always forget the syntax on this. I've used it so many times, but I just don't remember. So let's go to the landing view. Let's give it something, and this will be navigate to I am feeling, and then I wonder if it's better to keep these separate. Probably, because then you don't have to yeah, because doing this dot navigate, yeah, we'll keep it there. We'll keep it at the controller level, because that might be good for things like this to adjust them. Who knows? We'll keep moving. Yeah, because I don't want it to know about the nav controller. I just want it to do things. That makes sense. Okay, so we'll keep those separate. So let's go back to the landing view. Oops. And we'll add another one of these for cool. And then we can add these into these on-clicks. There we go. So now those are declared for its to navigate when it clicks. And then for this, we need to remember things. Let's get rid of this, don't need that anymore, don't need that, don't need the field board, although I'll keep an eye on it over here just in case I need it. So just ask the nav controller to navigate to that object. All right. Navigate to everything. Yes. And then controller.navigate to that just happened. Okay. I think I'm missing something important. Again, been a minute since I've done this. Yeah, I need to surround it as a function. That's right. Okay, so I probably can just, yeah, that's what I thought. And I could name them. I feel like they're explicit, but we'll see what we think about it. So now if I run this, will it do what I want it to do? This is the advantage of having such a large screen. I can show you all of the things happening at the same time. Oh, God. I need to delete this. I also need my nav back. Oh, why don't you want to... That's weird. Oh, I'm overloading it. Did you crash, honey? Cat. did forget it. Okay, why aren't... Yeah, Jesus. I hate swipe nav. We're gonna need to turn that off. Been using 3-button nav too long. I'm sorry, everybody. There we go. Okay, so let's first get rid of you. I don't need you anymore. Goodbye. And then let's rerun the app. Nice. So because they're chained, they do this. I could pack them together if I want, but nice. So if I tap that, oh, okay. Well, that feels better for how that's put together. I'm still not a fan of having the clicks be a part of this. Like, I don't think this is okay. But also, like, I know that this is how it's done on other platforms, so it's just, this used to be a design thing in the past, because on Android's views, when you do them in XML, they did have an on-click field, and you would provide it with a function that was attached to whatever was currently rendering that view. So yeah, I think it's been a while since I've heard the explanation as to why you do that. It was something that I used to do until I had a more senior developer talk me out of it. So yeah, I'm not 100% happy with that, because like even this navigation stuff feels not great. Like, you'd almost want your nav handled elsewhere. So there might be some more time and research into figuring out, like, better practices for this, because yeah. And I'd almost wonder, yeah. Difficult because it's new. Difficult because I don't have a group of folks that are either have been using this because they, moved over to it, or have a group of folks that are able to focus on just this to help with the best practice. This is kind of one of the rough parts about when you become management, is you can have opinions about what's going on. You can talk to people about what it's doing. But when it's new, it's not 100% your focus. So you have to wait until, like, the folks who handle that get to a point where they feel comfortable with presenting it, which is great, because it's a great learning opportunity, and because non-management developers, so all of your IC roles, like part of their job is exploration and seeing what's next and ensuring best practices. So it's nice to have people whose focus is on that. But when you're doing stuff on your own, it kind of sucks because because you're not just in it all the time. So that does make that a little difficult. As far as what we've done, well, I'm glad I kept the board because I can just pull it over. Hello, board. Okay, so if I open the app from a cold start, when the app loads, show it with 2 button prompts. We got that. Buttons will have the text I'm feeling, and that just happened. Got that. If I select an option, take me to the blank page with the title of the flow chosen. Not exactly a title, but I believe this is in the spirit of it. We just want to know which screen we're on, and that's how we know that we did it. And the navigation appears to be working. If I were to pop that out and start it from a cold start, like it says, there it is. So that means the ticket's complete, which is good because I only have about 30 minutes left in what I've scheduled. So what does testing look like? Well, I probably wouldn't write tests for this as it is right now. The reason for that is because I can verify that the buttons take me to where I want to go, but the view for where they're going will change, and it's not exactly a smoke test path that's that important. So because this is more of a skeleton than it is anything else, and because there's nothing really to verify other than it's rendering, I'm wondering if there's any value in creating an espresso test for this. We've also not written any logic to other than the nav graph itself, but that's tested by Android, so I am not going to test their implementation. I will just report bugs if something was wrong with that. Yeah, so I don't... For this commit, I don't think there should be any testing involved because we haven't done anything yet that would require, or anything that we could verify. I could write an espresso test that verifies there's 2 buttons on the screen, but that's going to be useless in a very short period of time. I could also write an espresso test that says that yes, the buttons navigate me to where I want to go, but that doesn't tell me much, when what I would be interested in is, especially for UI automation, that I'm able to complete the flow. I would verify where I am at each step, but I would want that critical path to be tested more than I would want just being able to go screen to screen. Now, it could be argued that if I was to write one and have it go, have it just so that I can test that it goes to the next screen, then that would make the next test easier, which is fair. I wonder where the Android tests would go. I'll probably have to make the file for that. I also need to add espresso. Okay. Okay. How do I want to do this with the time I have? Well, let's see where we can get to. So this is the part that's going to be interesting. This must be what the references thing is. I wonder if it can do that. Let's see. Let's see if this has been updated. Okay, good. This has been updated in the last bit. So let's go to the basic example. Actually, we should see what we need to import. SRC, Android test, Java. Yeah, so hang on. Let's get to the project view here. Okay. And then yeah, I don't have any unit tests just yet, but that's okay. All right, what do you got? Where's, let's see, I don't think there are any in here. Yeah, there might be. Ugh. I might do this next time because I'm gonna get into dependency hell again. But yeah, I feel like this is worthy of a commit. That's pretty cool. I'm surprised. It's better than I thought it would be. I'm wondering if it would be. Huh. Yeah, I think this is okay for our purpose. I'm curious about building these buttons out as composables, and then passing those items in. So like the modifier with the constraint, but I don't. I don't know. Because it would seem like handling those constraints would be strange because you would have to pass them all into the composable so that you could get it. Like, say I had one that was fairly complex and pardon me, and required the two other views for it to be attached to, or just even if I was to add a button into the middle of this chain, I would I not have to pass those two references into the composable so that I could then use them for the modifier. But all that would really do is make it so the hierarchy was named. So it wouldn't just be button button, it would be, I am feeling and that just happened button. And it wouldn't really give you a good idea of how, like, I mean, it never did unless you were following the constraints all the way down. So like the construction would be a little difficult. Yeah, fascinating things to kind of like go over and figure out because like there's so many things you can do, but it doesn't seem like it's very opinionated. So yeah, I think those are my like final thoughts on that. Means tomorrow we'll probably be coding again because there's nothing really to triage. There are no bugs just yet. um, so maybe tomorrow we can spend some time getting these into the next steps for those two screens. Maybe building out those views. I wonder if they need to nest or what. Oh, that'd be interesting. Yeah, that'd be interesting stuff to figure out there. But yeah, I think this is a good stopping point. So cool. If you have any questions or want to correct any of this, please comment on it or let me know. Otherwise, awesome. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully.